Captain Gu laughs at the whole spectacle of her trying to save her brothers, as Xiao Mei cries for her brothers. There's no way for her to escape, and all seems lost already while the rat looms menacingly above her. In one last effort, she screams for someone to come and save them. And Su Chen immediately arrives, killing the rat with one quick slap to the face. The others are right behind in, and Tianyue screams at Su Chen for being too impulsive. To Su Chen though, that was too easy of a kill, and these creatures were nothing but overgrown rats. Captain Guo stares at him in shock but manages to quickly recover. He didn't expect someone to come into his arena willingly, but since it's death that our protagonist wants, then he will happily give it. As he talks, large gates open up around them, and the rats inside scurry over each other to escape. Su Chen stares them down and prepares to take on an army of giant rats with one hand in his pocket. While Su Chen faces off against the rats, Xiao Miao and Tianyue manage to free the two brothers from their death traps. They thank her for saving them, but the little girl reminds them that it's actually Su Chen that saved them. Meanwhile, in the higher floors overlooking the arena, a soaked assassin watches the match in contempt while standing behind a scientist. The man in the lab coat asks if Su Chen is the special research material that she mentioned before. She confirms that he is someone with superior genes that will definitely solve the instability of the Doomsday genes. If they can do that, then they will be able to make the rats that were created using the latest technology bigger and more ferocious than before. Su Chen stares those same rats down, and it seems like both of them are ready to attack in an instant. The scientist has high hopes for our protagonist, but if he dies here, then he doesn't deserve to be their experimental subject. Su Chen wastes no time unintentionally proving himself by easily killing several giant rats in less than a second. His companions gasp in shock, and Tianyue wonders if this is the Su Chen he really knows. Unfortunately, despite all of his showing off, there were no crystal nuclei in any of the giant rats. That meant that his only hope of getting one would be from the Rat King. Just then, as if on cue, someone makes an announcement from the speakers set up around the camp. It's the scientist that has been overlooking the fight this entire time, and he tells everyone present that Su Chen is the experimental material he needs for his work. He orders Captain Guo and Tianyue to bring him up, whether dead or alive. It looks like the two bosses of the settlement answer to him, and Captain Guo is more than happy to bring Su Chen over for experimentation. Xiao Miao quietly warns Duanya to run away with him quickly because the situation has become dire. If she doesn't leave now, then she won't be able to leave again in the future. She tells him that she's not leaving as long as Su Chen is there. Captain Guo mockingly tells Tianyue that he knows the field team leader and Su Chen are brothers, so now that he has received a direct order from their boss, what's he going to do? Will he stick with his brother, or will he side with the man that helped him survive the apocalypse? Su Chen ignores the fat madman and asks Tianyue what's going on and why things seem to be growing into chaos. The faction leader tells him that the man upstairs is Liu Heiyun. At the beginning of the apocalypse, the scientist developed a drug that makes people stronger, and thanks to that, he was able to control the university. But nothing is free in the apocalypse. The drug needs a user to trade their life force in exchange for strength. Once they stop taking the drug, they become weaker than anyone else. Because of their dependency on the drug, they have to follow all the orders from the scientist no matter what. His only hope in this situation would be Su Chen, who offers an escape from the drug dependency. But only if Tianyue follows him. The faction leader bows his head and tells his brother that unfortunately, he doesn't have a choice in this matter. Captain Guo laughs wildly at the apparent betrayal between brothers. Seeing them turn against each other motivates him to take out our protagonist once and for all. He jumps at Su Chen, ready to strike the younger man down, but at the last second, Tianyue leaps into action and kicks Captain Guo away before he can attack. The large man clearly didn't expect the attack and gets sent flying by the kick. He growls aggressively at Tianyue, who takes off his shirt, ready for a life-or-death brawl between captains. Despite the odds against him, he decides to stand up for what's right and what he cares about. Tianyue tells the large man that he's betraying the doctor because he only wants to use the drug to control them. There's no need to stand beside someone who's using his life as a bargaining chip. If he has nothing to lose, then it won't matter if he dies at the end of the day. But if anyone dares to touch his brother, then he will fight them to the death. Su Chen smiles at his brother as he stands in front of the group. In that moment, the faction leader looks exactly like our protagonist remembers from many years ago. Tianyue rushes over to clash with the powerful captain, and the larger man promises to crush them all together since he's so eager to die. Tianyue manages to land several powerful punches all over Captain Guo's body, but the larger boss reveals his trump card. Their boss knew that he'd betrayed them, so he gave the captain a higher level drug than he gave to Tianyue. Thanks to that, the fat is his strongest defense, meaning that no one can hurt him. The captain raises his weapons over his head and brings them down on the unsuspecting Tianyue. The faction leader just barely manages to catch both clubs before they crush him. but the shock causes him to cough up blood. Then Captain Guo flips a switch on the weapon that causes electricity to surge through them. Tan Yue barely manages to hold on, but just as it looks like he's about to collapse, Su Chen comes in to help out his brother. He rushes in with a large kick to both metal mallets and uses his feet to push them out of Captain Guo's hands, causing them to pierce into his body and fall back. The stabs from the mallets and the surge of electricity cause Captain Guo to immediately pass out dead. The feats Su Chen pulls off just get more and more interesting as time goes on. So far, the scientist has spent all his resources and manpower to find ways to evolve humans into perfect beings, and his research has led to significant breakthroughs in his experiments. However, our protagonist's recent display of strength shows that all those experiments were pointless. The perfect human has been out there this entire time. The scientist gives Su Chen one more opportunity to join him and become the first truly perfect human. Of course, Su Chen knows that there's more to his plan than just humans. When he talks about perfect humans, what he's really referring to is a rat. For the scientist, rat genes are the closest to human genes, and using the rodent's genes, he can create an army of rat men and then conquer the world. In that case, the apocalypse would become a heaven for him and his rat army. Su Chen thinks the plan sounds really stupid and blatantly refuses the offer on the spot. Liu Heiyun only thinks that this must mean that Su Chen hasn't understood just how great his evolution project can be. All he has to do to convince our protagonist is show him just how great of an idea it is. The attacker from earlier lines up a sniper shot from the window looking down on the arena and fires. Su Chen dodges something that looks like a tranquilizer dart, and it flies straight into Captain Guo's chest. The large man immediately starts to mutate into a terrifying new beast, and the electrified mallets also get absorbed into his body. The big guy used to be a sumo wrestler, and his fat made him resistant to most heavy attacks. Combining that with the level 3 drug that was just injected into him, his strength has been enhanced, and on top of that, any damage he gets is healed immediately. Su Chen still couldn't care less and sends a flaming middle finger up at the deranged doctor. Nothing about this is great as far as he's concerned. This entire setup is just a huge excuse to turn people into monsters. That insult is the last straw for Liu Heiyun, and he orders the newly mutated Captain Guo to kill Su Chen so that he can extract the genes he needs from the corpse. The monster roars and immediately charges towards Su Chen with a sumo spin. Our protagonist manages to catch the rolling man just in time. Then he plunges his arm into the large man's head and rips out the battery from the electric mallets before stuffing it into Captain Guo's mutated face. The battery immediately explodes, which should be enough damage to kill the large man. However, thanks to his newly improved healing factor, his wounds heal immediately, leaving him horribly disfigured but strong enough to still fight. Su Chen finds the whole thing annoying and rushes back in to end the man and stop the fight all at once. He lands a devastating punch straight to what should be its jaw, causing the man to fall into a crater. Then he increases his speed as he attacks, kicking up a thick layer of dust while also pummeling the mutated man. In the current world, very few people know about superpowers, so it would be best not to let others see how he uses them. Because of that, he uses the dust and dirt to his advantage, which allows him to do whatever he wants while camouflaged. His main issue is the fact that Captain Guo keeps recovering no matter how much damage he takes. Despite how much he has clowned on the whole thing, at the end of the day, Professor Liu Heiyun's research is really impressive. Thankfully, Su Chen's space doesn't just contain supplies, it also contains something big enough to crush the man and make sure that he won't have anything to regenerate from. He opens up his space power and summons his secret weapon, which is several tons of concrete and steel. The large noise startles the onlookers outside, but the huge wall of dust stops them from seeing anything. Once it all clears, Su Chen sits in the center, on top of the piles of cement with the fatty buried underneath all the debris. Liu Heiyun starts to panic after seeing all of that. At this point, he doesn't care who Su Chen is or how special his genes are. All he cares about is the fact that our protagonist dared to provoke him. And now he will do everything to make sure our overpowered main character dies without a proper place for burial. All around him, the cages start to rise as thousands of rats prepare to swarm around them and attack. Su Chen isn't worried at all, and he's in fact excited because he planned to make sure none of them survive either. The others turn and realize that they've been completely surrounded. The rat people who start coming out of the cages are all the people who were once sent to the lab. It looks like Liu Heiyun turned them all into rat men, and now they obey his orders brainlessly. Su Chen can't deal with these small fry since his target is the deranged scientist watching over them. If he doesn't get up there and deal with Liu Heiyun, then the armies of mutant rats will never end. Because of that, he has to leave them temporarily so that he can take out the source. Duan Yao remembers he once told her that she needs to have value to stay by his side. If she doesn't prove that she can stand on her own here, then there is a chance that he will abandon her. With that, she understands her mission and assures him that she will keep them under control. Even with that, he tells her that if she needs him and can't handle it, then she should call out to him loudly. With Suchen gone, she immediately takes charge of the situation and steps up to lead the group. There's a lot of rats around them, and she has never controlled so many at once. But in this situation, she has no choice but to do it. With her mind controlling a large number of rats and stopping them, the rest of the group focuses on killing as many of them as possible. Meanwhile, Liu Heiyun continues to watch the carnage from the top floor of his tower. He considers the people fighting with Duan Ya to be traitors, but it doesn't matter to him since they will become food for the rat men soon enough. Suddenly, his assistants report that Su Chen has taken down the security personnel in the building, and he has broken into the room of someone named Miss Yun. That catches Liu Heiyun's attention immediately, and it looks like that room is very important to him. He takes off his lab coat and orders his assistants to inject the Doomsday gene into him. They warn him that the gene is still unstable, and it's way too risky to take it. But the scientist doesn't care. Right now he needs to personally deal with Su Chen and make him pay for everything he has dared to do today. Our protagonist walks through Miss Yun's room and looks into several tanks filled with what looked like failed or still developing experiments. All of them have ghoulish dark skin and they look completely disfigured, but one of the cases catches his eye. Inside it, there's a woman covered in nothing but bandages, floating in the green liquid of the tanks. Unlike the other experiments, it looks like she has not been mutated or tampered with at all. The woman is Yun Yun, the woman from the bar that Su Chen went to before the apocalypse started. It seems like somehow she managed to survive for this long, probably thanks to his advice. But he never expected to meet her again in a place like this. He doesn't have time to think about it though, and right now, he needs to focus on saving her. He winds up his fist and punches the glass, shattering it in one hit. Then he pulls Yun Yun out and carries her against his chest. She starts to wake up and immediately recognizes him. He tells her not to worry and promises to get her out of there, but she's more concerned about the fact that she's hungry. Their reunion is cut short by a raspy voice screaming for him to let her go. Then in an instant, an ice arrow shoots out at him, aims straight at his head. He manages to catch it in time while still holding on to Yun Yun. Liu Heiyun steps out of the shadows and yells again for him to get his hands off of Yun Yun. According to him, that's the woman he chose, and Su Chen touching her makes him extremely angry. It looks like he somehow gained ice abilities, but they're no match for our protagonist. He snaps the cheap arrow in his hands, causing it to fall apart. Then he asks Liu Heiyun if he chooses women as if he's shopping for merchandise. He can't just decide to own someone out of nowhere and then decide to keep them without consent. The scientist tells him that they are in the apocalypse, and in this new world, ordinary people are just ants. But someone like him, who holds the power of evolution, will be able to rule the world. As far as he's concerned, to be his woman is her honor. That little speech just convinces Su Chen that he's as much of a lunatic as the rumors say. Yun Yun desperately clings to our protagonist and begs him not to leave. She's scared of the situation she's been put in, and Su Chen has already come to save her. That makes Liu Heiyun even angrier, and he grits his teeth while asking Su Chen one more time to let go of her. Then he rushes at them, screaming that Yun Yun is his woman and she belongs to him. Su Chen reacts quickly and kicks a shelf at the scientist to slow him down, but the man swats it away like it's cardboard. But in that brief second he spent defending himself, Yun Yun jumps up and kisses Su Chen on the lips as a reward for saving her. She tells him that she's still mad at him for leaving her hanging last time, and she's only taking what he owes her. But that used up the last bit of energy she had, and she collapses on his shoulder in an instant and passes out. That finally sets Liu Heiyun over the edge, and he hunches over in anger while gritting his teeth. This is the worst betrayal he has ever felt, and the anger causes him to lose control of his mind. He decides at that moment that if she doesn't want to be with him, then she can just go to hell together with Su Chen. Then he starts his evolution process, causing his clothes to shred into pieces as his eyes glow white and veins pulse all throughout his body. Then his skin starts to grow dark and his teeth sharpen and grow until they become fangs. Then his body starts to grow, while his skin shrinks around him, and his nails turn to sharp claws. By the time he's done with his mutation, he has turned into a vicious-looking, half-man, half-rat. Then he promises Su Chen that he will show the true power of a god. But Su Chen is not intimidated at all, and calmly holds on to Yun Yun while inviting the scientist to come and attack him. He helps Yun Yun lay on the ground and tells her to rest against the wall. She once again complains that she's hungry, so he gives her some of his chocolate to eat. Yun Yun looks very weak and frail because she has been trapped inside the lab for some time, and Su Chen seems very worried about her. As the two of them share that private moment, his eyes light up as he suddenly notices a hostile presence. An ugly-looking monster appears by his side, angry that the two of them are ignoring it. The monster looks very menacing with its sharp teeth and long claws as it gets ready to rip them to shreds. It tells them that they will be meeting their maker since they are so bold to be distracted. But Su Chen maintains a cool composure and isn't fazed by the filthy monster's threats. The monster almost looks gravely ill, and its body looks skinny and disgusting. In an instant, he weaves his hand and destroys the monster's upper body. The mutated rat's parts fly across the room with its blood and guts spilling everywhere. It is a befitting end for such a repulsive creature. As the blood splatters everywhere, Su Chen is disappointed and asks if that is all the monster has. The look on his face shows that he is expecting more of a challenge, but the monster clearly isn't ready for Su Chen's overwhelming strength. Meanwhile, Yun Yun finishes off the chocolate, and she asks him if the people downstairs are his friends as she looks through the window from the corner of her eye. Su Chen confirms that they are his friends. She grabs a chair and says that she is going to repay him for everything he has done. It is only fair, considering the fact that he also saved her life. Yun Yun throws the chair at the window and shatters it, then prepares to jump down to the bottom floor to save Su Chen's friends. She gives Su Chen one last good look and tells him that Liu Huiyan isn't so easy to kill and that he needs to be careful. After that, she jumps out of the window, slowly increasing in size, and by the time she lands on the ground below, she is tall enough to tower over everyone around her. The crash scares Su Chen's friends, and it takes a moment for them to figure out what just happened. Duanya and the others turn in surprise to see the huge woman, who cries about the fact that she landed right on her butt. The bunny girl barely believes what she is seeing, while Tian Yue just realizes that it's a giant woman who crashed the party. Somehow, despite her increase in size, she doesn't lose any of the bandages on her body. With the destroyed buildings and structures in front of them, they don't believe that they are looking at a giant woman. While they are still trying to comprehend what is going on, a lot of the rat army lays dead behind them. Yun Yun grits her teeth and is still trying to recover from the pain of the fall. She eventually gets up and starts walking through the plains of the battlefield. The other people are still asking how a giant woman suddenly appears out of nowhere. As Yun Yun moves around, Tian Yue begs not to be crushed, especially since he can see between her legs from where he's standing, and he even says that he can see the color. She manages to crush one of the rats under her feet, causing it to scream out in pain and wriggle around under her leg. As the rat tries to escape from the giant woman's foot, Yun Yun finally starts to realize just what exactly her new companions have been fighting against. She raises her foot to get a closer look, while the other rats gaze at her from below. The rats all look scared of the ominous aura that Yun Yun gives off. Before she fully realizes that they are rats, they all start spilling out from the buildings and sprinting toward her. All of them are eager to avenge their fallen comrade, and they race through the now empty battlefield, grabbing anyone they can get their hands on as they make their spring. Some people try to run away, but only a few can escape, while the others are caught in the creatures' paths before they get turned into rat food. As Yun Yun realizes that she's fighting against giant rats, she starts to panic. She cries and asks for help because she can't stand the monsters. Everyone else starts to run away from her because she begins stomping the ground, which means that she might accidentally kill both rats and humans in her panic. The shockwaves from her stomps make them all run for their lives. She keeps yelling at the creatures to get away from her, while the other humans try to calm her down before she stomps them to death. Most of them give up on calming her down and try to get away. Su Chen watches the chaos as he marvels at Yun Yun's insanely powerful ability. Unknown to him, as he stares out the window, the rats in the room begin morphing and coming back to life. He quickly turns his head and sees the creatures rushing toward him, but he knows that he can take them out. Su Chen doesn't resist as the rats swarm and climb all over his body. He acknowledges that Liu Huiyan really isn't that easy to kill. Then he allows himself to get engulfed by the swarm while maintaining a calm demeanor. The rats merge together around him, forming a new body that looks like it belongs to the Rat King. A few seconds later, he is completely swallowed up by them, but not once does he try to save himself. From the depths of the horde, Liu Huiyan's hand reaches out like an ominous being that has been brought back from the dead. The large rat emerges with his full body, now turned fully into the Rat King that Su Chen has been trying to find. He laughs and says that his body is practically immortal, mocking Su Chen's futile efforts at trying to defeat him. Now that the main thorn in his side has been taken care of, it's time for him to start taking over the world. The rest of the fighters below are shocked when the rats suddenly stop attacking. They all just stand like mindless figures, as if their minds have all been connected to a hive, and they are awaiting their next orders. Duanya and her companions wonder why the rats have suddenly stopped. With the rats all in sync, they gaze up to the top of the building, where their leader stands like a cartoon villain trying to take over the world. There at the top, Liu Huiyan revels in his glory. He stands and smiles with his gross-looking body, feeling like he has won and there is no hope for his enemies. His eyes glimmer, and he has an overly confident look on his face. The other fighters recognize him as the king of the rats. They start to panic as they look at the sinister creature. All the rats kneel in unison, pledging their allegiance to their leader and honoring the one who makes their existence possible. The bunny girl and her companions are surprised that the rats are even intelligent enough to perform such actions. Meanwhile, Yun continues to prance around as she swats the rats away and tells them to get out of her way. She is angry enough at the unpleasant creatures and doesn't need their unappealing king, making matters worse for her. She walks up to Liu Huyan, confronts him, and asks where our main character is. She is ready to confront the Rat King on the spot if he doesn't tell her where Su Chen is. Besides, she still isn't done having her way with his chocolate. Liu Huyan isn't fazed by the confident woman who stands before him, and he tells Yun that her precious man is gone. He feels disrespected that she speaks to him in such a dismissive tone, and he isn't going to take it. He tells her that she is asking for trouble, and the unsettling smile on his face shows that he is ready to deal with her. Yun, not noticing early enough when the rats climb her body and start clawing at her skin, is frustrated and scolds them for distracting her from her goal of dealing with their king. It isn't just her who suffers at the hands of these relentless creatures. The bunny girl and the other unfortunate companions find it hard to keep up with the rats because they have suddenly gone berserk and are attacking them fiercely. While they try to stand their ground and hold their position, Yun has been pushed down by the rats, who look ready to tear her apart. She tries to protect her face with her hands, leaving the rest of her body vulnerable. Li Huyan laughs at them and boasts about how he will use his rat army for his global plan. But he suddenly gets interrupted by Su Chen's voice. Our protagonist stretches out his hand from the depths of the swarm and apologizes for wasting time to find the crystal core. The mad scientist can't believe what is happening to him. He has a bewildered look on his face and says that Su Chen should have been completely devoured by him. But he underestimates just how strong our boy is. Su Chen rips open his chest with his two hands as he makes his way out of that chaos. He splits the Rat King in two and steps out with a fierce gaze and a red shine in his eyes. His body is marked with red streaks all over, and Li Huyan, despite being split, still can't believe it. Su Chen looks down at him. Please know that he has found what he has been looking for. In his hands, he holds the Rat King's crystal core. With the Rat King's crystal core gone, the mutated rats begin acting more vicious and crazy. Barricades can barely hold them back because they are able to squeeze through with their bodies. More of the creatures start to appear from tight spaces and corners, looking for the next target to consume. They pop out of the holes in the walls and in the ground. As they reveal themselves, they hold on to the dead bones of their pathetic victims. The guys who were caught up in the battle are irritated at the sight of the monsters. One of them complains that the rats are easily squeezing through even the tiniest of spaces. The man screams out with fear in his eyes as he runs for his life. He tells his companion to watch his step close to a ditch. The little girl's bald brother stops in his tracks immediately when he sees a rat emerging from the sewers. He grits his teeth and stands still as the monster sniffs around for the next person to attack. Sadly for the bald man, the rat grabs his leg as he moves and holds onto it firmly. He is confused and has no idea what to do as he screams out, while more of the rats emerge and begin to drag him down to the depths of their sewage. He struggles and yells at the rats to let him go. But there is no hope for him. He tries his best to escape and claws at the ground, but the monsters hold him firmly. The other brother watches and calls out to the man getting dragged down, while the little girl holds onto his shoulders. Tears run through their eyes as they watch him get dragged into who knows where. There is nothing they can do, and as their brother is taken to his death, he tells them not to worry about him, trying to ease their minds as the monsters take him away. He tells the little brother to take care of the little girl, and his voice gradually fades out as the rats finally pull him away. The rats retreat to their depths to continue their meal as the two keep calling for their lost brother. On the other hand, Tianyue is completely exhausted. He doesn't look like he can still keep up with holding the rats back. There are injuries all across his face, and his mouth is bleeding badly. His eye bags are so heavy, and it looks like he's about to collapse. The faction leader realizes that the whole thing is too much for him, and he looks like he is about to pass out. Su Chen needs to show up fast and do something, or it's all going to be over. With the little strength he has left, he keeps trying to fight back the rats. He slashes the monsters as they approach him, but he has already reached his limit. The rats can't give up a chance to attack weak prey, so more of them swarm him. At this point, Tianyue is basically seeing Jesus already. He is beyond exhausted. He can barely keep his eyes open. His arms give out, and it looks like it's finally the end for him. After the last of his energy leaves, he accepts his fate. Yun as well is being overrun by the monsters. The monsters climb all over her and bite her body, causing her to wince and cry out in pain. The buildings all around her keep taking damage as she jumps around in pain. Duanya doesn't have it much easier either. The rat monsters run towards her, and she says that it is impossible to block out or mind control all of them. Tianyue looks towards the sky and he notices a black figure at the top of the building. The strange figure leaps from the roof and suddenly lands in front of all of them with a menacing aura. As it lands, it kills some of the filthy rats and sends them packing. It has a dark face and a bright, sinister-looking grin. The shadow's aura is immensely powerful, and Tianyue is frozen on the spot out of fear. He shouts that it must be the Rat King and thinks it is the end for him. Duanya almost starts to cry as she thinks Su Chen might have failed to defeat the Rat King. It's almost impossible to believe that he somehow failed his mission despite how powerful he is. The monster then speaks to them and tells them not to be afraid. The former chef can tell that the voice belongs to Su Chen, and she is able to calm down for a bit. The dark aura around him clears from his face, and it reveals that it really is our protagonist. Despite their fears, he managed to take down the Rat King and absorb his power. Although the remaining consciousness in the crystal core wants to devour him, thanks to his sharp mental strength, he is managing to hold it back. When in a tough situation, he isn't going to lose a battle of mental strength. He has a wicked smile on his face as the shadow slowly fades away from his body. Tianyue is glad to finally see his brother again. Su Chen thanks the faction leader for all the hard work he has done, and how he managed to hold back the horde until the Rat King was defeated. Just as the shadow fades from his body, the mutated rats all fix their eyes on him. Now that a new threat has joined the party, they look eager to feast. They all rush towards him from behind, hoping to catch him off guard and overwhelm him, and Tianyue warns him to be careful as he sees the monsters rushing towards him. Nevertheless, Su Chen is unfazed and slightly turns his head to tell the monsters to get lost, with a devilish glare in his eyes. The rats stop in their tracks instantly, and the anger in Su Chen's gaze causes them all to scurry away. They turn to run, clearly terrified of going up against our man, and all of them look like they have just seen a ghost. The barriers that are meant to hold back the mutated rats end up being their escape route, as they squeeze their bodies to get through the little holes. The others escape through their underground tunnels, and the rest go through the vents. The rest of the human survivors can't believe their eyes. They wonder what has caused the rats to suddenly get scared and run away. Now, with the battle over, it seems like they just barely made it through the whole ordeal. Even though Su Chen isn't the Rat King, the remaining power of the crystal core is enough to intimidate the rat men into retreating. If he hadn't made it back in time, they would have just kept on coming out of every corner and attacking them. But there's no time to celebrate just yet. Tianyue starts to cough violently now that his body is going through withdrawals from the scientist's drug. Su Chen rushes to hold up his brother as the man looks ready to fall over and faint. It looks like the drugs that the scientist has been giving them are also a type of poison. It gives immense strength, just like they thought. But the more power they use, the deeper the poison effect. Su Chen desperately asks Yun Yun what he can do to help his friend. She tells him that in Liu Heiyun's lab there is a corpse that has the answer to their problems. If he can get to it and extract a sample of its blood, then they can use it to make a serum that should be able to neutralize the poison. With a clear mission in mind, Su Chen heads back into the lab to try and find the monster that Yun Yun described. He reaches a door deep in the building where he found the Rat King, and wonders if this is the place that Yun Yun mentioned earlier. As soon as he gets there, he notices that there is a strong oppressing aura oozing from behind the door. Something unnatural is behind that door, and he can feel it just from outside. With no other options, he opens the door, allowing what seems to be stale, frozen air that is in the lab to leak outside. He notices that walking into the room feels like stepping into a black hole. As he walks in, he seems to pass through a thin barrier blocking the entrance of the lab. He breaks through it, but can't believe the feeling that it gives him. To him, it feels like he has passed through a wall of pure mental power. He analyzes his body to see if anything has changed, but there is none. He glances ahead and becomes confused about who he is staring at. From what Yun Yun told him, there are supposed to be only corpses in the lab, but instead of a rotting corpse, he sees a lady sitting and working on the computer in front of her. From how she greets him, it's almost like she expected him to come and meet her. The lady turns and refers to him as her classmate Liu. Su Chen is confused as to why she is calling him Liu. She must be mistaken. After all, he looks nothing like that madman. He turns to look at himself in the reflection of one of the lab machines, but he sees that he really does look like Liu Heiyun. He immediately realizes that this must be some sort of illusion, and he has to wake up quickly. For now though, all he can do is play along with the trick. He greets the older woman, calling her Professor Xiao, and she invites him to come and take a seat. Su Chen assumes that he has entered Liu Heiyun's memories as well, since he seems to be reliving his past experiences. Xiao then takes off her jacket, and he asks her what she is doing. She tells him that the lab is really stuffy and she needs to cool off. On the table beside them is a crab that is being experimented on. Liu explains to her that a common parasite is found in these crabs. She confirms it, and says that it is a strange creature that uses its host to protect itself while coexisting with it at the same time. It's a parasitic organism called a succulina, and that's what both of them are trying to research with the crab, or at least they were supposed to be doing that until Professor Xiao gets a better idea. As they look closer, Xiao asks if he finds the creature interesting as she rests against his back and starts feeling his chest. Liu is trying his best to keep his cool composure. She isn't making it easy for him at all, considering how revealing her clothes are. She continues to rub his chest, making him more nervous as well. The moment gets more heated when she leans in on him and says that she doesn't expect him to be so knowledgeable and also have a good physique as well. Liu gives a sly smile and looks like he is ready to make the best out of his current situation. He turns his seat around and Xiao sits on his lap, almost looking like she's trying to push him down. He tells her that she must have dressed so provocatively to try and influence him, and he's not one to look past an opportunity with a beautiful woman. She says that she prefers to practice some chemistry with him rather than work on the experiment, and the moment gets especially heated between the two. The chair Liu is sitting on is making squeaking noises as the two of them are having their fun. As they continue to fool around in the lab, Liu pins the professor against the glass window. At that moment she looks outside and notices that the moon is looking a little strange. It's the day that the apocalypse begins and the moon releases its blindingly hot burst into the room directly on the couple, and they both happen to not be wearing much clothing. Suddenly they are surrounded by a blazing hot fire. She screams and asks for the curtains to be closed quickly. The heat is too much for them to bear, and they wonder when it will all end. The room of fun is turned into a survivor's hole, and the two of them try to ration the little supplies left in the lab. After some time, Xiao tells Liu that they are running low on food, but she is going to take the last snacks they have. There is a small bag of junk food that would only be able to last for one person. Liu gets furious as she takes it and slaps her away before she can touch it. He stares down at her menacingly as he tells her that the supplies are more valuable than her life. The scientist looks like something has possessed him, and you could see the furious rage in his eyes. The professor shakes in fear and apologizes for taking the food, saying that she is too hungry. She can't believe her eyes when he picks up a sharp knife and decides that if he hurries up, then he will be able to get the rest of the food in her stomach that hasn't digested yet. He plans to cut her open and salvage whatever meal he can find inside her. With a firm swipe of the dagger, her blood is sprayed everywhere in the room. Xiao's dead body lies on the floor, while Liu is glad that he has found some food, despite the fact that it is all in her stomach. Later on, he also says that the rats from earlier have evolved after eating her flesh, although their crazy evolution is far from perfect. Then when he starts with his experiments, and while using her blood, he is able to make a serum and finds out that it can detoxify the poison. But what surprises him the most is that her body is still alive and still changing. He sees her as the perfect research specimen to work on and decides to use her to create something amazing.